Hey, welcome to my channel. This is Living a Better Life, and this is my first official video on finance. In this video, I'm going to discuss how one can actually live a better life through finance. Now, this topic will be different for everyone. Much of it will depend on your perspective on finance and how you view money. And how we view money is frankly different for everyone. Some view it as a tool, some view money as a priority, others view it as means to have fun. Some people stress about money and make it their main pursuit. The point is, we all view money differently. Our parents probably raised us to share a similar view on how they perceive finance. If your parents were good with money, you inevitably picked up some of these skills. If they were bad with money, you probably absorbed some of that. There are learned behaviors that we pick up as we grow, and we can either adopt these behaviors within ourselves or we can learn from them and avoid those pitfalls. Now, depending on how you view money, will very much determine how you answer this next question. What does financial security mean to you? I've heard a lot of different answers to this one. I don't want to have to worry about money or going broke. I want to be able to go out to eat and not worry about the bill. I want all my stuff paid off. I want to retire comfortably someday. I don't want to struggle when it comes to money. Much of this question depends also on your goals and where you want to be in life. Regardless of how you answer, there's a common theme on how people feel about financial security, and it all deals with relieving your stress around money and bills and being comfortable in how you live. So, how does one achieve financial security? Well, it is really nothing that you would picture in your head. We've been conditioned in society to believe that financial security and being well off relies on having lots of stuff, a big house, new car, the coolest commodities, being able to go on vacation whenever to wherever, buying the newest phone, having the newest tech, and generally living lavishly. This is simply not the case, though. For every occurrence you see of someone living well and having it all, you are not seeing the opposite side of this. For every post on social media about going on a 2-week beach vacation, spending lots of money, and having a great time living lavishly, you do not see the reverse side of this. The planning, the actual travel, the airport waits, any delays, the cost of the vacation itself, food prices when you get there, cost of lodging. Most of the time, this is put on a credit card and paid off later. It will most likely be paid off over months and years' time. We are basing our belief of living well off of someone's peak times in their life. We are comparing our lives to someone's highlight reel. This is the pinnacle of their living as they try to portray it, and not the day-by-day basis they actually persist in. You are not seeing the mundanity of their lives. You are not seeing their jobs that they work, and you definitely are not seeing their credit card bills. Many influencers and everyday people who try to portray this lifestyle are deeply in debt. You don't see their credit card bill arrive monthly, and due to this, we wrongly believe that there is something desirable about thinking this is the purest form of living. Comparison is the thief of joy, as they say, and modern influencers are experts at making a false comparison for how you ought to live. If you are basing any portion of your life compared to how an influencer presents themselves, then you are setting yourself up for disappointment. You are trying to build a life that is non-sustainable and most likely based on false financial pretense. Living well and living comfortable is almost always never like it appears. Living well is often silent. You can see a lot of people who are living well and might be quite wealthy, and you would not know it. Why? Because riches are loud and true wealth is silent. Look at some of the richest people alive. They don't flash their wealth. They don't show off what they have. They don't need to. Their wealth is understood. It speaks for itself. They are secure in knowing what power they have. Now compare this to the person trying to look rich. Flashy logos, big brand names on their clothes, shoes, or purses, new flashy vehicle. They always talk about their latest purchases or their investments or their newest financial venture. They feel the need to make it known that they have money or know how to make it. They need you to know that they have money one way or another. It is largely an insecurity issue. They feel they have to prove something, and flashing their assets is the best way to project this. This is the opposite of wealth. This is the appearance of wealth. Making this approach is largely a conundrum. Namely, the people that actually care about wealth and money know that they are falsely projecting their worth, while the people who know little about brands or money will not care what they are wearing or what they have. The people that try to fake wealth often go deeply into debt to try to keep up with those around them. They buy a new car every couple years. They live in too large of a home. They spend exorbitant amounts of money on clothes, jewelry, and cosmetics, thinking this is how rich people behave. Living like you are wealthy has a large cost, and the catch 22 of looking wealthy is that the cost of doing so will prevent most people from actually being wealthy. The average car payment in 2026 has reached $749 per month. When people upgrade their cars every few years instead of just sticking with one that is actually paid off, they essentially forego their financial future simply to ride around in something with more features, but still gets you to the same place. Take two different scenarios, John and Luke. John paid off his car after 4 years and still drives the same car to this day. He doesn't want a car payment. He simply fixes his current car and will most likely drive it until it won't run anymore. Luke is the opposite. He upgrades cars every 3 years to the newest model. Although he doesn't drag any equity over from one car to the next, he is dragging out his car payments for years to come. His car payment, to keep it simple, is $700 per month. Every year he spends around $8,500 on his vehicle payments. This does not take into account all the extra costs, such as insurance and maintenance. Luke continues to do this every 3 years. He upgrades his vehicle. Many people just accept new vehicles every few years as normal. They have mentally written off the costs in their head. It has been budgeted for long in advance. Now, let's compare the two men. John paid off his car, and while he does have maintenance costs he must perform yearly on his car, they are much cheaper than the cost that Luke undertakes. Let's say John's maintenance costs are $1,200 per year, a fairly believable amount. He is still saving about $7,000 more than Luke. This money can be saved or invested. Now, Luke is readily forking out this money yearly for the benefit of having a new vehicle. John is happy driving a 5-year-old car that is paid off. And when analyzing these situations, we can look at both short and long-term costs to determine the overall effect. John is saving $7,000 per year, while Luke is paying that much more with interest. Over 5 years' time, John could feasibly be $35,000 ahead of Luke in building assets and investments. And this is not counting growth on investments. Over the years, at a projected average market return of 7%, that number could be even higher. Meanwhile, Luke is still in his new vehicle, and the interest keeps accumulating. Depending on his credit score, Luke is most likely paying between 5 to 7% interest on that car loan. What is the morale of this story? Keep your expenses under control and don't feel the need to buy and finance new stuff all the time. Over 20 years' time, this can easily turn into thousands of dollars that could have went toward retirement or building real wealth and not simply owning a depreciating asset, which is most modern vehicles. Over the length of an entire career, the money we spend on vehicles could be more like hundreds of thousands of dollars. Much of being financially secure is being secure in ourselves and what we have and own. There is always something out there on the market that appeals to us. There is always something we can buy. Advertising and marketers have perfected the means to push items and commodities your way, and they know how to entice people to buy what they have. We can essentially boil down commerce and financial security to one quick phrase. Our desires are infinite, but our budget is not. There are so many expensive things to spend our money on, and the only thing holding us back is the number that shows on our bank account. To some people, this extends to the spending limit on their credit cards. Much of being financially secure is learning to curb your desires. Essentially, money is nothing more than a tool that shows power, a tool that shows freedom, it shows choice. A person that has money doesn't have to work extra hours out of necessity. They do it because they want to build more. A person who has money set back has the power to buy what they want. They have more freedom to their day because they don't have to work extra to pay off their credit card. Their bills are paid. They have already set money back. Having money is also a show of discipline. Money is currency that can lead to accumulating items or objects. It lets you buy whatever you want. There is a conscious choice. You can have things or you can have money. Most people would opt to have things. There is a psychological component to purchasing things. There is a definitive dopamine release that occurs whenever you go out shopping and buy things you want. There is a reward reaction that occurs in the brain when you conceptualize what you want in your head, find it, and go and purchase it. It feels good to get new stuff. At some point, it can even turn into an addiction. Having money over items shows you have great discipline, and it shows planning. It shows the ability to forego physical items and keep your currency and financial power. It shows the ability to not give in to desires and instead choose freedom over stuff. The dopamine release from purchasing things is often short-lived. Someone who has massive shopping hauls will feel good for a while, but this quickly fades. And afterward, they must deal with and reconcile their spending habits. Their spending can often lead to financial stress. And many people deal with this stress by spending more money, further exacerbating their situation. How can we combat this? Well, we can stop comparing ourselves to how other people live and simply live within our means. This sounds too simple to be useful, but it is a concept that has served people well for thousands of years. Even someone earning very little money can still build their way to wealth by using discipline and making smart financial decisions. You may have also heard the phrase, it's not what you earn, it's what you keep. Is this statement true? Well, yes and no. It is primarily true. I have known people to be high earners, making 200,000, 300,000 and up. Some of these people were terrible with money, even making 300,000 per year. They would spend all their money. Yes, all of it. They would find a way to spend every dollar. Now, this statement is also somewhat false because having a higher income can mean greater potential to retain these earnings. In analyzing these two concepts of earnings versus what you retain, we can utilize two important terms, income and net worth. While one leads to the other, they are extremely different metrics. Income is what you earn. It's the money you bring in every couple of weeks or every month. It funds your lifestyle. What most people overlook, though, is net worth. This is a calculation of what you own compared to what you owe. Yep, it's that simple. Add up all your assets, car, house, bank accounts, investments, 401k, jewelry, add it all up. This is what you own. These are your assets. Now subtract what you owe, any liabilities, what you still owe on your car, your house, any credit cards, personal loans, student loans, add it all up and subtract from your assets. This is your net worth. Realistically, and in most cases, your net worth should increase over time. This happens as a result of saving and investing, as well as paying down your debts. As you pay off a debt on a real asset, such as your home, you build equity in this, meaning the amount you own begins to increase over time. The more you pay off on your home, the more equity you build, implying portion of ownership. This all counts toward net worth as time goes on, and you pay things down. If your net worth does not go up over time, you are either in a transition period or you are frankly doing something wrong financially. Let's take two situations, Joy and Anna. Joy is very financially responsible. She makes $80,000 per year, and she contributes a good portion to retirement. She owns her own home that she pays on regularly. Her car is paid off. She invests 5% every month into different brokerage accounts. She has an emergency fund that is fully stocked and available. Recently, she decided to get into real estate and became a landlord by purchasing her first investment property. She is also extremely adverse to credit cards and keeps the balance on her cards either at zero or pays it off monthly. Over time, assuming she pays on all these assets and continues to invest, her net worth will positively increase over time. What she owns will increase, and what she owes will decrease. Her net worth will grow for years. Now let's look at Anna. Anna makes the same amount as Joy. Unfortunately, Anna cannot contribute to her retirement at this time due to living costs. She has a car, but just bought a new one because she wanted the safety features of the newest model. She wants to invest, but simply does not have the money to do so. She has about $150 in her savings account, which is her emergency fund. She wants to save more, but simply cannot afford to currently. She rents her home because she cannot afford the down payment on a home. She has 3 credit cards. One is maxed out. The other 2 hold about 50% balances. She finds herself going out often on the weekends, and she can't help but go on random shopping sprees to curb her anxiety and stress. Although Joy and Anna have the same income and current earning potential, there's a vast difference in net worth. Joy diverts her money to largely investing and buying assets, and Anna instead spends her money on depreciating assets and liabilities. Joy is building true wealth, while Anna is simply spending on frivolous items that bring temporary happiness. Regardless of income, we can see that net worth takes drastically different directions in this scenario. Joy's net worth can be tracked over the years, and one might observe that it will increase by 10 plus grand every year. This is true wealth she is building as she accumulates assets in the form of real estate savings accounts and retirement funds. Contrarily, Anna's net worth stays the same every year, as she does not save, she does not invest, she does not build equity in a home, and spends frivolously on things that do not positively contribute to her net worth or help her build assets. And in some years, her net worth might even decrease. Along with that, she also maintains and adds to her liabilities by utilizing credit cards to finance purchases. From these scenarios, we can see the importance of both net worth and income. I've seen people with low incomes have high net worths, and I've seen people with high incomes have much lower net worths. This simply adds more credence to the earlier phrase: it's not what you earn, it's what you keep. We have all heard the story of the football players who earn a huge contract, $15 million over 5 years. That is a fortune. There are contracts much larger than this as well. But there's another story you might have heard as well. It just did not resonate the same with you. That same football player who earned a huge contract also went broke 6 years later. They spent all the money on cars and houses, vacations, parties, etc. They blew through it all. $15 million gone, faster than you can say realizable income. This story serves a vital purpose. It serves to illustrate that even with a high income, you can go broke the same as anyone else. You just had a higher starting position. A popular actor from the 90s and 2000s illustrates this point even better. At one point, Nicolas Cage had a net worth of around $150 million. Yes, you heard that right. $150 million. He managed to eccentrically spend all of this money on random items that nobody would ever buy. Some of his purchases include a dinosaur skull, a pet octopus, random expensive exotic animals, millions in dollars of jewelry, a castle, lavish cars, and so much more. He eventually declared bankruptcy. Again, this really serves to illustrate that desires can be infinite, but your budget is quite limited. So what did we learn today? Well, to summarize, financial security can mean a lot of things to different people. You have to determine your feelings on it and how you perceive money from a psychological standpoint. Regardless of whether you put effort into your finances or not, is honestly unavoidable. Not caring about money is like not caring about your hygiene. You have to address it at some point, otherwise it will come to you. Secondly, keep your expenses low and don't buy things with credit cards or finance purchases. Any purchases made with credit have to be paid for eventually. When you buy things on credit, you are simply foregoing tomorrow's earnings for today's fulfillment. Let me say that again. When you purchase things on credit card or finance a purchase, you are giving up future earnings and pay to have what you want fulfilled today. You have to pay for it eventually. You are borrowing against your future self for access to what you want today. Avoid credit whenever possible. Next, we have to stop comparing ourselves to others. There is always someone wealthier or someone who has a bigger house. There will always be a nicer car. There will always be a bigger television. Our ability to differentiate items that are nicer and more expensive from what we have will always lead us to at least consider what we might be missing. It is our own discipline and self-control that determines how we handle things after that. You have to learn to curb your desires if you want to be financially secure. This is inevitable. You can always find something to buy. That is simply how our economy works. The key is to A, stop looking at and searching out these items, and B, be able to resist purchasing these items when they arise. Put down your phone instead of online shopping. Delete the apps that lead you to spend money. Get rid of the temptation. And as a last-ditch effort to avoid frivolous purchases, really ask yourself before buying anything big, do I really need this or am I just bored? Lastly, don't just focus on building income. Use that to also build your net worth. Invest in assets. Pay off your debts and liabilities. Avoid new debts. Your income can positively act as a necessary catalyst in building wealth, but eventually you should put your money to work for you and let it grow. If you follow these rules, you will find yourself on a right path toward financial security. If you follow these rules, you will find yourself more financially secure than 90% of people.